I'm not saying to be the first guy through the door.
Right.
But the second and third guy is not a bad place to be either. So.
Right. Hey, this is Stephanie.
And this is Chris.
And welcome to Our Story. Today we're going to be talking about breaking away from the herd, and I know you've heard that before.
Here we're talking about the diffusion of innovation theory.
Diffusion of innovation theory is about how fast or slow people accept new ideas, and it's built upon the premise that some people adopt ideas quicker than others. You have your innovators, you have your early adopters, you have your early majority, you have your late majority, and then you have what we call your laggers. And basically all that is the stage in which certain people accept new ideas or innovations.
And I grew up in a household where you had to be an early adopter. My father ran a small business my entire childhood.
Yeah.
So I got to watch him firsthand take new ideas and be the first person to the market to reap the benefits from that. How he would go in, he would design the cabinetry, he would implement the sales strategy, and then bring the money back like, hey, look at what I've done. And my dad had a trick.
What did he say?
I remember when I was about 15 years old, my dad took me out to the shop. Said, you're going to put in a good hard day's work today. We were in the shop and we got finished and I was like, sweat on my back, sawdust everywhere. And he's like, okay, I can pay you for what you did, your physical labor. Or I can pay you for how much you did, for your intellect that you put in, the innovation, the strategies that you implemented. And I was like, well, I want to get paid by hour. He flipped out his wallet, gave me a 20 and said, have a good day. Then he said, this $100 could have been yours, but you wanted to get paid by the hour. And it was a good idea. It showed me in the moment that my intellectual skills and my ability to critically think and come up with a unique idea and implement it was valuable.
Oh yeah, how old were you around that time?
Well, I was probably 14 or 15.
That's pretty young. So I'll tell you, it's a huge contrast to how I grew up. So early on, it was preached in my household, get good grades, get good marks, finish high school, go into college, make good grades, graduate from university, and then get a good job. And you're gonna work that job until you can't work that job anymore, or until you're ready to retire. And that was what was preached in my household. It was not entrepreneurship. It was go get a good education, get a good job, save your money, save all of your money, and then put that money up for a rainy day. And of course, as I got a little bit older, I found out about 401ks and things of that nature, but that is exactly how I was raised. Stark difference from how Krishan was raised. So we were raised in two totally different ways. So what I want to tell you is when I met Krishan, he kind of blew my wig back, okay? He really shared his perspective and how he was raised, and I didn't really understand it. I was like, huh? Like, how's that supposed to work? Like, you're supposed to work and save your money, right? Yeah. He had a job.
Yeah, because my thought, we're not saying there's anything wrong with going out and working a 9 to 5
at all.
and continuing to put your nose to the
grindstone.
Put your nose to the grindstone and keep pushing forward. There's value in that.
Oh yeah.
However, for me, I think that most of the success I've had early on was with me following the herd. It was things that I was pushed to do, and I was happy to have that success. But it wasn't until I broke away from the herd and I started taking the path of less travel that I started having a great deal of success. I can still remember back when we bought the first property. Our first property was a multi-family home. Oh yeah. And we were like, oh, we can move into one part of it and rent the other part of it out.
Right.
And we told the real estate agent, he was like, actually the first real estate agent like, oh, no one does that around here.
We don't have any multi-units.
We don't do that here.
Yeah, it's like,
and I was like, okay, but I didn't know any better. So I started researching and I found a real estate agent who was like, yeah, we definitely can make that happen.
Oh yeah.
So, and no joke, 6 months later, I'm shopping properties again and I see the same real estate agent who said they didn't do it had the same technique I used as a perk on why you should buy multifamily homes in that area.
So he learned something from you. That's funny.
But it goes back to what we said about the innovation theory,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We were the top category.
Yeah, early adopters.
Yeah. And he saw that and like,
Yeah, let me jump on this bandwagon
let me ride that train.
Yeah, ride that way.
And here we are almost 5-6 years later, they are still using that same platform, that same roadmap to sell multi-family homes in that area.
Oh yeah. I'm going to tell you something I've learned over the years is breaking away from the herd for me is all about changing my thought process, right? How I view the world, how I view certain situations is changing my mind, my frame of mind, my thought process. And that takes time. That's not going to happen overnight. You ever heard Rome wasn't built in a day? Believe that. It takes a lot of time to really kind of rewrite what you've always known. And you know, and it's a learning process like every day.
And it is true because with me, entrepreneurship came easy because I can just look no farther than my dad and see the success associated with it. But when it came to other kind of investments like stocks and bonds, that was a little bit out of my wheelhouse. So I kind of had to spin myself up, you know, to find unique ways to do that.
Right.
You know, like right now, Robinhood is a huge thing in the news right now.
Yeah, sure,
you know, and with the buying options, like that for me was when we first started doing stocks and bonds. Like no, I might want to lay back a little bit. Watch a few guys walk past me doing the same thing and I'll follow the same path.
Right.
But knowing what I know, that may not be the best idea. I'm not saying to be the first guy through the door.
Right.
But the second and third guy is not a bad place to be either. So
right. And breaking away from the herd, how it's helped us is we're no longer working for a paycheck, a steady paycheck, right? So we have built this business from the ground up with no education. You know, we didn't know anybody doing it, so we just kind of had to like figure it out as we went, right? Make mistakes and learn lessons. But it allowed us to, now we have passive income, right? So what if we didn't want to break away from the herd? Nothing would have changed. Exactly. We would have kept going in that direction. But now, as we've gotten older, now we've built passive income, we're still working, and so we have that additional source of income. And that's what I think is valuable about breaking away from the herd.
And the herd can be deceptive. It comes in many different forms.
Oh, yeah.
Some people call it keeping up with the Joneses.
Yep, that's one.
Because for us, we had to definitely come to the same accord in regards to how much money we were going to spend on the luxuries in life.
Right.
So that's one thing that we both know we have to keep in the forefront of our mind. Because one thing for me that stood out when we were thinking about doing this video about breaking away from the herd is how people just look at life. And the luxuries that they need in it. Right. And how they will finance those luxuries.
Right.
When I first came out of my father's house and started going to college and started planning for my future, I was always taught that you, I was always taught that you had to look at your weekly, monthly, annual salary to ensure that you had enough money to finance your lifestyle. But as I broke away from the herd and started to discover the FIRE movement, I was like, wow. You know, maybe I shouldn't look at such a short-term goal.
Right.
Maybe I should look at what's the ultimate goal? Right. What's that large lump sum of money I need to finance my entire life and not just a segment of it? So that's why I would encourage you to look into break away from the herd as well.
Oh yeah. Any other points you want to add? Well, we're just going to wrap this video up. We want to thank you so much for just listening at some of the advice that we have and supporting our channel. We really appreciate it. Go out and do something nice for someone today. And remember, whatever you're up against, you can do it.
And remember, we're just ordinary people trying to do extraordinary things.
You know it. Patience. Hey, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome to our story. Today we're going to be talking about breaking away from the herd. And I know you've heard that before.
We're going to be talking about the diffusion of innovate.
I'll say it. Hey, I'm Stephanie.
And this is Chris.
Hey, why took you so long to answer?